We were wishing you a good Friday evening as well as a weekend ahead. Well, we'll have to wind down then on the markets. It was a quiet day of trade. One would have to say it was the quietest day of trade. The Nifty had at least recovered from the lows of the day. At one point of time, it was trading below that 18,250 odd mark. But we end with a gain of close to around 20 points. So that's a good 75 points recovery from the day's low. In the final hour of trade, you had Cipla. Well, that stock was moving around. A closer look at those numbers, I think the street believed that it was more or less in line with what the street was working with. But for the day on the whole, the Royal Enfield was the way to go. Tata Motors was up close to around 6%. Mahindra & Mahindra as well was up close to around 2%. And IndusInd Bank actually was the star of the week. That was up close to 2% today. And for the week, it was up close to around 3%. HUL, quietly and silently, it's been moving up. So post those numbers, the stock did take a bit of a whack. But now that stock has recovered all those losses, and for the week it was up close to around 5%. The PSU Banking Index struggled all week. In fact, it was down close to around 4% for the week, while the private sector banks did do well. But SBI, according to me, that's going to be the big trigger of next week. It comes out with its set of numbers, and the commentary will be tracked very closely. In today's session, Hindalco came in for another day of profit-taking, was down close to around 3.5% odd. Data coming out of China is a little bit disappointing, and that's why that was under pressure. BPCL as well as Power Grid, they joined the losers list. Throw in there NTPC as well. What else, guys?
Well, actually, today was a little more subdued for the mid-cap market. The mid-cap index has actually underperformed. It's going home with a loss of almost 130 odd points. The breadth is negative. But having said that, you did have some pop. Some of the positive result reactions included something like a South Indian bank, 8.5% up. Then you had Intellect Design Arena, which was up right from the word go, 12%, 13% actually on that stock as we're ending the day. Dr. Lal Path Labs, 7% on the higher side there. So those are your good result reactions. Throw in a Zensar to the mix as well, 9% up on Zensar. But then you have the disappointments. Obviously, there's Greaves Cotton down 6%. Of course, we've been talking about some of these metal stocks. So Hindalco from the index, Nalco from beyond the index. Some pressure over there. Z, by the way, is ending down 3%. A lot of uncertainty on what happens to the merger with more issues coming up at the NCLT. So slightly mixed picture, but remember the bias for the mid-cap, mid-cap, at least the index, and the breadth was a little negative today as we end.
Yes, the mid-cap index is down nearly 0.4%, and there was quite a sharp slide which came in the mid-cap index in the last 30 minutes. So for a greater part of the trading session, the mid-cap index was actually flat, just down about 0.1, 0.15%, but it suddenly slipped. Some more losers. Manappuram Finance reports numbers later today. That stock was down close to about 5%. Bharat Forge came in for selling pressure. Mahanagar Gas, the numbers were good, but today the stock has sold off a bit. For the week, though, it's still up close to about 7%. Broadly, pharmaceutical had a good session. So we spoke about Supriya Life Science. That had a gain of 10%. Glenmark Pharma was up close to about 6%. And there goes the bell. Well, we've wrapped up this trading week. We've managed to close with some strength on the benchmark indices. Both the benchmark indices, the Nifty, the Sensex, and the mid-cap index are practically up 1.5% for the week, though Friday was on the quieter side. Pretty flat close for the Nifty and the Sensex, though there was an intraday recovery. Banks did pretty well and now are less than 1% away from their all-time high levels. Post-market hours, watch out for that Supreme Court hearing, which is going to take place in the Adani Hindenburg Research, 5:30 p.m. We've got the India CPI inflation print as well. So we're going to wrap up, and take your leave on this show. Enjoy your weekend, but stay with CNBC TV 18. Smart Money comes up next.